Hey, welcome to the sixth iteration of the Innovation for Impact series. My name is Lawrence Heiner. I'm the Director of Training and Technical Assistance at Cal Kappa. And I'd like to guide you through just a quick review of the five webinars that we had as part of the Innovation for Impact series. But rather than listen to me talk about it, I've invited some very special guests to participate with us today from Google's Notebook LM team. So I had some partners in AI do a little bit of a synopsis on some of these sessions. And what you'll notice is that in the accompanying deck that goes along with this video, the actual PowerPoint presentation has built into it each of the five recordings from the Innovation for Impact series as we go through the review process. So without further ado, let's hear some of the reflections from our friends at Notebook LM, and also about what we learned this year as our Innovation for Impact series guides us through five very interesting topics. I'll be right along here with you along the way. So let's take it away with Google's Notebook LM.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
Today we are doing a deep dive into Cal Kappa's Innovation for Impact series from 2024.
Okay.
And, we've got a stack of webinars
Yeah.
and meeting notes here.
Right.
And we're going to try to boil it down to the essentials so you can get a year's worth of community action insights in just a few minutes with us.
Absolutely.
What do you think? What really stood out to you about this series when you looked at it?
Well, I think that the way that they structured the series is really smart.
Oh.
They really took agencies through like a complete innovation cycle.
Okay.
Starting with really assessing the community needs, going all the way through to succession planning, which is huge for sustainability. So it's a really holistic approach.
I like that.
Yeah.
So let's start with that first one.
Okay.
Webinar 1.
Enhanced Community Assessment, October 9th.
Yes.
2024.
So what was that all about?
So this was led by Lawrence Heiner,
Okay.
Cal Kappa's Director of Training and Technical Assistance, and David Knight. And really what they emphasize is that assessments are about so much more than just identifying needs. It's really about understanding the strengths and the assets within a community, analyzing trends, and really truly engaging stakeholders in the process.
I like how they reframed that whole assessment.
Yes.
It was a community strengths and needs assessment.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just needed.
Yeah, it really shifts the focus to a more positive and empowering perspective.
And then David Knight also made a good point about the surveys that we use.
Yeah, it's avoiding generic surveys.
Yeah.
Really tailoring your questions to the specific groups within the community.
You wouldn't ask a senior the same questions you would ask a young adult.
Exactly. So that was really good.
And then they talked about the Data Hub as assessment tool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a free tool that's available to all community action agencies. And it provides these incredibly detailed demographic breakdowns by service area.
So it's like having a research team at your fingertips.
Right at your fingertips.
Wow.
Amazing.
David Knight made a really interesting point about bias.
Oh, yeah.
He said, we all strive for objectivity, but we also have to leverage our existing knowledge and experience.
That's true.
We can't just ignore what we already know.
Right. We have that unique understanding of our communities as community action professionals.
Right. So it's like finding that sweet spot between objective data and informed judgment.
Yes.
And he also talked about focusing on strengths.
Oh, yes.
Not just needs.
Really highlighting those community assets.
Yeah, it's easy to get stuck in that deficit mindset.
It's so easy.
But we really need to...
you want to shift the narrative from what's wrong to what's right.
Yes.
Focus on what those communities are already doing well.
All right, so we've gotten a little bit of analysis from our friends at Notebook LM, and as you'll see, each of these sections has the YouTube recording of that earlier session from the year built right into it, so you can watch these at your own leisure. We'll skip the rest of these as we go through this review. So enjoy the next one. Hey.
So webinar 2.
Narratives and storytelling.
Okay, so we're taking all that data
Right.
and we're turning it into stories.
Yes.
What did we learn?
So this webinar focused on this crucial skill of crafting compelling narratives from your everyday experiences.
Yeah.
And the facilitator, whose name unfortunately wasn't included in your notes, but really drove home this point that storytelling is about more than just conveying information. It's about connecting with your audience on an emotional level and inspiring them to take action. You know, I think we often underestimate the power.
A good story, especially in the work that we do.
Yeah, I think so.
It's really important.
It is.
And the facilitator shared a really practical tip that I found very helpful. They suggested developing your stories orally first to make them sound more natural and engaging.
I like that.
So it's almost like you're having a conversation with your audience. So you don't feel like you have to sit down and write this perfect narrative.
Let's talk it out and let the story flow naturally.
Yeah, that's a good approach.
Yeah.
And then they made this point that I thought was fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the most relatable stories are the ones that
feel the most ordinary.
Yeah.
You know, it's those everyday experiences that people connect with because they see themselves in those stories.
Finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Exactly.
It's really powerful. The facilitator there talked about showcasing resilience, community pride.
Yes.
Achievements of local heroes.
You want to show those too.
Yeah.
It's just as important as sharing stories about the challenges.
Yeah. You know, you want to present a balanced and hopeful picture.
Yeah.
Narratives and storytelling was one of the best attended sessions, and a lot of folks have gone back to watch the recording of this session. It's probably one of the more popular ones of the series this year. So I encourage you to take a look. What's next?
So let's move on to webinar 3.
Funding streams.
Ooh, yeah. That's everybody's favorite topic.
This one was facilitated by
David Knight again, along with John, the Chief Expansion Officer at the Community and Economic Development Association of Cook County. They really challenged agencies to think beyond traditional funding sources and explore innovative ways to generate unrestricted funds.
Now, for our listeners who may not know, unrestricted funds are dollars that an agency can use for any purpose.
Exactly.
They're not tied to a specific program or project, which gives agencies
more flexibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do we get more of those?
Well, so John shared a really interesting example from his own agency. They actually created a for-profit LLC to tackle affordable housing.
Bold move.
It's a pretty bold move.
Yeah.
But it really demonstrates their willingness to think outside the box.
So how do they do that?
So he emphasized that before you dive into something like that, you really need to take a hard look at your agency's culture, your financials, and program successes.
So like taking stock of your assets.
Exactly, because that analysis will help you identify areas where you could potentially generate revenue beyond traditional grants.
Got it.
So he talked about how his agency already had expertise in multifamily energy efficiency. So they decided to leverage that expertise by offering consulting services to other states who were interested in implementing similar programs.
So they took their knowledge and turned it into a revenue stream.
Absolutely.
That's great.
So that turned into a new revenue stream for them.
I like that.
Yeah.
He talked about how understanding your agency's strengths can open up all sorts of innovative funding opportunities.
Right. Yeah.
He gave that great example of how his agency leverages their expertise in multifamily energy efficiency. They were able to secure consulting contracts with other states.
You know, they took what they knew and turned it into money.
Yes.
It's brilliant.
I like that.
You know, analyze your agency's culture, financials, and program successes.
Right.
And figure out
what you can do.
Well, you know, I'm really intrigued by the idea of leveraging those existing strengths to generate new funding streams, especially in today's funding climate.
Right.
That's something a lot of agencies could benefit from.
Yeah, of course, funding is always going to be a big focus for all of our agencies, and that funding diversity is huge. So why not consult out a lot of the strengths that you have at your agency? What was the next one? What was the next webinar you guys listened to?
Okay, so webinar 4.
Strategic plan.
Okay. This one was facilitated by
David Knight and Jeremy, who works at the Community Action Partnership of Kern. This webinar was all about creating a strategic plan that's more than just a document. It needs to be a living, breathing roadmap for your agency's future.
I like that.
And Jeremy shared how Kern's strategic plan uses a 4-year cycle instead of the traditional 5-year approach.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Why did they do that?
They felt that it allowed them to be more agile and adapt to the rapid changes that are happening in their community and in the field.
Yeah, because the world is changing quickly.
Yeah,
A 5-year plan could be outdated by the time you're halfway through it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so being more proactive and responsive to change.
Absolutely.
I like that.
And what really impressed me was how integrated Kern's strategic plan is into their daily operations. Every single memo that goes to the board includes a strategic plan assessment.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're constantly checking in to make sure their actions align with their goals.
It's like a built-in accountability system.
That's really good. They actually have a process for spreading their progress on a regular basis.
That makes sense.
It's not just a static document.
Right. It's a living document that guides their work.
And they include a strategic plan assessment.
I love this.
In every memo to the board.
Yes.
Like, wow.
Keeping it front and center.
It's like a built-in accountability system. They also have a digital dashboard. So they can track their key metrics and adjust their approach as needed.
It gives them the data they need to make those adjustments.
Yes, and I really like Kern's approach to strategic planning.
Oh, yes.
I love how they've integrated it into their daily operations.
It's very smart.
And that message about collaboration and community engagement.
Couldn't agree more.
So important.
We can achieve so much more when we work together.
Yeah, this session on strategic planning was really well done from Jeremy Tobias, who leaned into the idea of using your strategic plan and not just letting it collect dust on the shelf. So give this one a watch. And then what was that last one that we were looking at here?
Webinar 5.
This one was facilitated by
Lawrence Heiner. And he had a fantastic panel discussion with some real experts in the field.
Okay, so who was on the panel?
The panel included Heather Lockman,
the
CEO at Community Action Partnership of Lancaster and Saunders counties, Michelle Moorhead from CS&T, and Michael Tubbs, the retired CEO. They shared some insightful stories about succession planning, both the planned and the unplanned kind.
Yeah, because succession planning is one of those things that
you push to the back burner.
Yeah, you don't want to think about it, but it's so important.
It's crucial for an agency's long-term health.
Yeah, you just never know what the future holds.
Right.
So what did they say?
So Michael Tubbs really emphasized the need to start planning for succession early and to avoid the pitfalls of a leader staying on for too long because it's easy to get complacent, but that can really stifle innovation and growth within an organization.
So it's not just about having a plan. It's also about creating that culture of leadership development.
Absolutely.
So what else did we learn?
And a recurring theme throughout the panel discussion was the importance of grooming leaders from within the organization. So you want to ensure that you have people ready to step up when the time comes.
Preserve that institutional knowledge.
Exactly. It creates a sense of continuity and it empowers staff members to take ownership and contribute to the agency's future.
He said a good succession plan should ensure the agency can thrive even if the leader is suddenly unable to serve.
Yeah, you got to be prepared for anything.
Yeah, so preparing for the unexpected.
Absolutely.
And he talked about focusing on leadership development.
Yes, at all levels.
At all levels.
Everyone should have the opportunity to lead.
And Heather and Michelle talked about how in their agencies, they encourage staff to take on leadership roles, even if it's outside of their immediate job description.
You want to stretch people.
Yes.
And help them grow.
And they have these great mentorship programs.
Yes.
Where experienced staff can guide and support newer staff members.
It's so valuable.
Yeah, I love mentorship.
Me too.
And, John really emphasized building relationships.
Yeah.
Not just with funders.
Right.
But with other community organizations.
That's about collaboration.
Yes.
Working together.
Yeah, to achieve that long-term impact.
Exactly.
And often those relationships can lead to unexpected funding opportunities.
Absolutely. Leverage each other's strengths.
Right.
And work together to address community needs.
We can accomplish so much more.
So much more.
When we work together.
And Michael Tubbs echoed that in Webinar 5 when he talked about engaging with the community and being responsive to the needs of those you serve.
Being a true partner.
Yes.
Not just a service provider.
It's about building trust and working together.
Yeah, I'm seeing a common thread here.
Oh, what is it?
It's like a shift from a transactional approach to a more transformative one.
I like that.
Moving beyond just providing services.
Yes.
And focusing on empowering individuals and communities.
To create lasting change.
Yes, like a ripple effect.
Beautiful.
It extends far beyond those immediate services provided.
And realizing that innovation isn't just about technology or new programs. It's about a mindset.
Yes.
It's about always looking for new and better ways.
Yeah, so succession and sustainability is one of my favorite topics, and I'd like to hear the reviewers kind of connect some of the dots even between the sessions. Our network has been doing a really good job, I think, of providing models for succession. I've been seeing a lot of agencies lately showcasing their efforts to prepare the next leader of the organization. And then even more agencies are taking a look deeper into their organizations to see where there are succession opportunities into leadership roles. So a lot of good stuff there. And as we're winding down, I'd like to hear some of the reviewers' thoughts and connecting the dots and what some of the things that we can start doing right away are to put some of this into action in the coming year. So let's hear some of their thoughts.
So we're wrapping up our exploration of Cal Kappa's Innovation for Impact series.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed by how practical this series is.
Yeah.
It's not just theory.
Right.
They really gave agencies tangible tools and strategies.
Yeah, like a roadmap for innovation.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
So let's look at some examples.
Okay.
Webinar 1. They highlighted the Cal Kappa Data Hub assessment tool.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, to help gather data about their communities.
Right at your fingertips.
Webinar 2. The facilitator gave us tips and structures for crafting stories.
It wasn't just like, oh, storytelling is great. They give you the tools to actually do it, which is so helpful.
And then John.
Oh, yeah. John's great.
In Webinar 3, Funding Streams, he gave us real-world examples of how to generate funding.
I love those real-world examples.
Yeah, you can really see how it works.
Yeah, and you can take that and apply it.
Apply it to your own agency.
To your own agency.
Yeah.
Webinar 4.
Strategic planning.
Yes.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
It is how do we make it happen.
Exactly.
And Webinar 5, succession planning.
So important.
It is so important.
Especially for the long term.
So they covered all the bases.
They really did.
So what does all this mean?
Well, I think it's a call to action.
Okay.
They're challenging agencies to step up, to embrace innovation, to go beyond.
Be bold.
Yes, be bold.
Take risks.
Take risks.
Question the way things have always been done.
Yes.
Explore new possibilities.
Exactly.
And collaboration.
Oh, yes. So important.
Shared learning.
We can learn so much from each other.
So I want to leave our listeners with one question.
Okay, I'm ready. Based on what we've learned in this series, what one innovative idea will you champion at your agency in 2025?
That's a great question.
What's that one thing that could make a real difference?
It's a challenge to all of us to really make a difference.
Thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope this exploration has sparked some ideas and inspired you
to think differently.
About the work that you do.
Yes.
Until next time.
Okay.
Keep innovating.
Yes.
And keep making a difference.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye.
Wasn't that fun? All right. So if you enjoyed this session, you want to hear something similar to this, or you hated it and you want to let me know, please send us some feedback using that QR code. And as we look into the coming year, really hope we're able to take some of these lessons that we learned from experts throughout the year on how it is that we can leverage our existing and innovative thoughts on how we operate our agencies, how we encourage innovation, and certainly how we sustain the work that we're doing as we move forward and try to leverage our network where we can. So if you've got any additional questions or would like to talk more about some of these concepts, you can email me at lhiner@calcappa.org, or find us on the website. And certainly come back, see us next year for all of the programming that we have in store for you. Thanks, everybody.